Hi, everybody.
Everybody, this is like, I don't know how this is going to go tonight. We're having camera issues. Well, I'm having camera issues again.
I think I'm
So,
okay.
you know,
I think I'm okay.
you know what? Like I sent to Ross like 20 minutes where I said, "Oh, I'm ready early tonight," and then I said, "Oh, I shouldn't say that because something's going to happen." Sure enough.
Well,
Anyway,
hi.
I guess can you see us and hear us?
Yes. Or see some version of Noelle.
Can you? Yeah.
Maybe this is like what you get for all those eye rolls you give to me. I don't know.
I doubt it.
It's the
Anyways,
YouTube karma. Anyway,
yeah.
welcome everybody. We are
Okay. Well, they said they can see and hear, so
okay.
well, let's go with it. Let's talk fast. Who knows how long this is going to last?
Watch on a small device. The smaller the device, the better it will look.
So
Okay, so we are Knits and Pieces. We are a
we
mostly
are.
knitting podcast from Southern Ontario, Canada. I am Kelly,
Yes.
and this is my friend.
I'm Noelle, and let's just say that technical issues are not our forte.
Well, I don't know. They seem
I
to be
know.
our forte.
Let's just say I know how to knit.
It's not a podcast about tech. It's a podcast about knitting, and
Nope.
we can do that. We can do that for sure. So I'm sure you'll get everything sorted out, and everything will be great next week. Heidi
That's right.
says
And
she's
you're
watching
right.
on her huge screen. Don't watch on little screens.
No, yeah. And Elaine says, I think it's easier to rip rack a project than to fix a camera issue. I agree. It's easier to cut a project and fix it.
Even if it's a collar,
that's right, Julia.
And start over.
That's right. Remember, shift happens.
Shift happens.
A lot. Seems like it happens a lot.
That was my word last year. Pivot.
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 Yeah, but when I think of pivot, I think of basketball.
Well, that's just it. You know, like you see the basket, you're headed for the basket, you've got the ball, and then somebody gets in your way. So you got to pivot. So that's what this is like. Just pivot, different direction. We'll get there.
Yeah. Anyway,
all right.
We'll figure it out. We'll have it figured out by next week, hopefully.
Hopefully.
So, anyway,
I'm headed away this weekend, so I'm going to give Noelle will have some time to sort out her camera issues.
That's right.
Okay.
I will, hopefully. So, okay.
If you're new here, this is not how we normally start. We're typically ever so slightly more organized and not with camera difficulties. We've been pretty good lately with the technical difficulties or not having them. We thought we had the show all set and under control, but every so often, those gremlins get in the system and mess things up. So if you're new here, please.
We've had a lot of tech stuff to do this week, like just sorting out some things. And it's difficult, even if you want to actually talk to somebody about something, to get someone on the line to help you. Mm-hmm. Like if they want you to do it all through tech, well, if I could do it all through tech, I could fix my own problem.
Yes, anyway. That's right. That's why you're reaching out. So, but
that's right. So
I like that. Marissa says when she hears the word pivot, she thinks of that sofa scene in Friends, right? Where they're, I just hear Ross going, pivot. That's a good one too. So anyway, if you're new here, welcome. And please don't hold tonight against us. Come back again next week and give us a second try. And if you've been around for a while, then you already know what to expect. You know that this might happen. So anyway, we're here. It's Tuesday and we've got some knitting to talk about. Do we have any admin first though?
Well, there was a couple of questions that I had from previous week, and I had the little tool sitting here in front of me last week, and I totally forgot. But someone had asked again. About
do you have it now?
Tool.
Okay,
I do. So this is this was hand turned in Elgin, Illinois, and Kelly and I were sent these after we went to Chicago for the mini meetup. And this is a little tool that I believe it's made by Betsy's husband. Hand turns the little tool, and it's a tool to tighten up your interchangeable needles. So it's just a pretty little hand turn tool with what would you call that? A piece of
steel rod.
steel rod on the end that you can put into your interchangeables and tighten them. So you've got this to hold on to while you tighten the needle. And it's so pretty and so functional. And I don't know whether they still sell them, but I will put in the show notes, I will put Elgin Knitworks website. So if you want to contact them and see if they show it, they might.
If they do sell them, I am guessing they are a pretty hot commodity. And like I'm pretty diligent about keeping my needles in their cases, and I've got the little Chagu set, the little red, the little blue, and then I've got the teal set of the Knitter's Pride. There's nothing that kind of feels more finicky though than reaching into that little zippy bag, and it's tiny. It's a tiny little zippy bag to pull out that tiny little T-bar to put in there and turn. So I love having that tool. That tool never leaves my knitting space. I don't even put it in a notions bag because I'm worried that I'm going to take it somewhere and lose it. I leave it at home where I'm changing needles the most, and I love it. Absolutely love it.
So yeah, so that was one thing. And then someone else had asked, they were actually doing a man's sweater, and they wanted to know, they had done the top part and it was top down, but they needed width across here, but they wanted it to narrow down as you go towards the waist, and whether or not that would look funny. And I mean, I think that if you did side seam decreases, and as long as you don't have to do too many, I think it should look okay. And the other thing you can do, if it is a yoked sweater, you could actually, before you split for the sleeves, you could actually do a couple of decreases all the way around and then continue on with the body after that. And I think as long as you're not going, like, maybe if you've only got a couple of inches maybe to do, it's not going to look too bad. And what you can also do, you can get the person that you're making for it to try it on and see what it looks like. And then you'll have a better idea of how it's going to fit as you go through. Mm-hmm. So I know I've done that occasionally for some of my own sweaters where I have decreased a little bit after the yoke just to get like a more fitted at the waist sweater, and it's looked fine. So I don't know if anybody else has any other ideas on how to do that. Or again, I think the best thing is, if you're doing top down, is to try it on as you go, or have the person that you're knitting it for try it on.
Absolutely. So. Just before we leave the little tool, Isabel says that she had some of those handle thingies made custom by Truquerie in Quebec. And she said that they have them for sale online on their site. So if you have a pencil handy and you're interested, and maybe we can add that.
Yeah.
Can you add that? I'll mark it down to remind you after.
Yep. So. Yeah, because it is like, and it's also like, it's so much easier when you're looking for the little tool to have something like this. The ones that come with your needles, like, they're so tiny.
They're so tiny.
And if you've got them, I've got one in my thing with a lot of my stitch bulb markers, and it's hard to find, but this is so easy to find and you know exactly what it is. So.
Okay.
Now someone says, Lauren says that she saw an idea on a podcast. They use diaper pins as tighteners. Large, cheap, and easier to use. That's actually a good idea. And then you can actually close it back up again, so you don't have that pointy end to stick in when you pick it out of your
notions. Well, here's a question too. They actually still make diaper pins?
Yeah, some people use cloth diapers.
I know, but although a lot of the cloth is Velcro. The cloth diapers now has Velcro, so I wouldn't have thought that they actually even made diaper pins. I have a couple of I had larger needles too that are like straight pins with the pearl ball on top that were pretty sturdy, and I used to keep a couple of those up near my knitting chair in a tray that I could just reach in and grab that. But like Mary had mentioned, I've bent so many of those from tightening. So
well, Lauren says she just got them on Amazon.
Okay,
so there you go.
And Linda keeps hers on a large keychain. So many good ideas.
That is a good idea.
So many good ideas. Yeah. I had a question to me this week, and I don't know if she's on here tonight. She says that she always watches, but she was having difficulty with one of the charted rows in the Couture Tee.
Yes, I saw that.
And it was row 28. And I went in, I haven't had a chance to respond to you, so I hope you're watching, but I will try to respond as well. And I went in and I revisited the chart. I didn't see anything that I felt would have tricked me up in that area. I know it's a fairly detailed chart, and you are doing lace every row as opposed to a rest row. So I guess maybe the only advice I had or would have is just to really double check that you've got that right number before you start that row, because I don't recall that there were any rows that stood out to me where I had any particular difficulties. But I will try to reach out to you, and then we can start going back and forth if you need some further help on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Grace has a question. Oops, that's not Grace, that's Maris. Okay. Grace says, when doing a top-down sock with a heel flap and gusset, do you have a good way of keeping track of how much you have to decrease to get back to your original stitch count?
I just know that I'm going back to my original stitch count of, usually it's whatever you've got on hold for the instep.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to end up with the same number of stitches on the sole.
Right. So just half of whatever.
Usually, well, you don't necessarily always, it depends. It depends how big of a gusset you do, right? So, which is going to depend on how big you knit that heel flap. So obviously, depending on the size of the sock that you're doing, and some people like their heel flap to be a little longer, which means they're going to have a bigger gusset.
No, but I meant half the stitches. So half on the front needle, half on the back needle, or whatever. But she's talking about decreasing. How do you keep track of how many you decrease to get back to your original stitch count? I guess you could place stitch markers. You could put the little rings in there of where you started so that you know like where you're getting back to. Sometimes when I'm doing a heel flap, I will put a stitch marker right in the very middle of that back row, like this. So I put a stitch marker right in the middle so that I know that I'm back to the halfway point again, like how many stitches on either side. But you could, like, for instance, if you were getting back to 30 stitches and you ended up with, say, 46 stitches on there with your heel flap, you could go in and put the tiny rings kind of like at your 30 stitch mark. And then as you're decreasing your gusset, you would know once you got back to those rings that you were done your decreases. That might work for you.
I just count them every so often. I know that's kind of a pain,
you know what?
It seems like I'm always counting, and you
then
can
you're
go
counting.
past it.
Exactly. But that would be maybe a better idea, Grace, that if I did use stitch markers, like tiny ones, then I wouldn't be in there counting every row. I could just be concentrating on something else.
I do count, and then it's like, oh, I just want to get down to the stitches so I don't have to think anymore.
That's right.
So
yeah.
But Sheila says she writes it on a paper pattern and ticks off the rows.
Okay.
So
that's a good idea too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Michelle, that's a good reminder. Michelle says that the Couture Tee also has a pattern that's written out row by row, and that might be easier for some to follow. I had forgotten about that. When I went back into the pattern, I went right in and I looked at the chart. I didn't look at the written instructions, but you are exactly right, Michelle. There is a written pattern for that as well. All right.
Okay. So we should move on to what we're wearing.
Okay. You go ahead first.
Okay, I am not wearing a sweater tonight, but I am wearing my lightweight hipster. This is a pattern by Joji Locatelli, and I do have a picture of it just so you can kind of see the colors in it. Just got to find it. Of course, who knows if that will work for me tonight either. Anyway, so here's a picture of the shawl, and I did this one in Shirley Bryan Deconstructed Fade, and this colorway is called Pour Myself a Cup of Ambition. Let me just find the banner here. There we go. So what I did, because the Deconstructed Fade comes in two separate 50-gram skeins so that you can do identical socks. So what I did was I knit 2 rows from one, 2 rows from the next, 2 rows from the other one, and kept going back and forth so I'd still get the fade the way that the fade was intended when she dyed it. And it was a perfect amount for the shawl. I think I actually might have even knit a couple of extra rows at the bottom just to use up all of the yarn, like, because I cut my tassels and then used up all of the yarn. So this is basically a one skein project. And I believe that the deconstructed fade is 80/20. But anyway, her yarn comes in beautiful colors. And if you do make socks with it, it makes a super long sock. But also a good way to use it is to do something like this. And I have seen where people have done it, used it, and they've used it in a yoke of a sweater and done the same thing where you're alternating both skeins. So you get that nice fade in the yoke of your sweater. So
That's a really
sometimes
good
when you get
idea,
sock
too.
yarn, yeah, sometimes when you get sock yarn and it's self-striping or a pattern, you might have to mix the two skeins together, like knit from one and then the other, in order to keep the continuity of the color changes. So, okay.
Mark says that's what she did with her Musselburgh. She used a helical method. Helical method.
Helical,
since
yeah.
it was in the round. Yes.
Yes, yes. And this you don't have to do helical because you're going back and forth.
And Courtney says you got that out of one fade set. Yes.
Yep.
Because I believe
Yes.
that lightweight hipster is a one skein shawl.
Skein shawl. Yep. Yep.
Including the tassel.
And it is, because sometimes you buy all this beautiful sock yarn and then it's like, well, but I want to see it. I want to wear it somewhere where I can see it, right?
Yes.
So there's lots of other things that you can do with it too.
Yeah.
Okay. So Kelly, what are you wearing?
I am wearing my ranunculus because when we were at the coffee shop on Saturday, Vonda was working on hers and she's actually doing one in the same colors. And it just made me think that I haven't worn this in a while and I really like it. And it's probably one of my favorite sweaters. And it might definitely be my favorite feeling sweater. So, I don't have any pictures to show. You just get this. Everybody knows what it looks like. It's just a basic sweater. This one is, it's not super cropped, but it is, yeah, I guess I do wear this with jeans. Sometimes I wear a t-shirt underneath it, sometimes not. And I knit it in the Holst Coast, two strands of Holst Coast and one strand of Holst Titicaca. And the Coast is it 50-50? It's pretty close to 50-50, right? Or it's 45-55.
45-55.
55 wool and cotton. So it's very lightweight and breathable. And the Titicaca is 100% baby fine alpaca. So that gives it that little bit of a loft. So if mohair in a sweater is not your thing, maybe the Titicaca would be, because you still get like the, it's just very soft. And this sweater has no weight to it. It just feels like, I don't know. It just feels like you're wearing nothing. It feels like air. And so it breathes really well, but it still gives me some warmth. And I really like it. You know, I've actually debated making another one. And I know I shouldn't because there's so many other sweater patterns, but I honestly had so much fun knitting it. And I like this fabric so much that I could have a second one in another color. It wouldn't hurt my feelings at all. So, okay.
So Mimi had a question here. She says, does anybody know the origin of the garter tab? So many shawls start with this, and so many people complain about its bump. Are there alternatives to the garter tab? I don't know if there's alternatives. I guess I look at it like this. Usually when I block out the shawl, it does decrease it a bit, not totally, but when you're wearing it, you're never going to see that. Right? When you've got the shawl on, you're never going to see that garter tab. But maybe some people do know of some alternatives to it that give you a nicer or a straighter edge. So
Susan says she's mentioning that she has a post saved in Ravelry on an alternative garter tab shawl start. So she said she's going to see if she can find it. And if you can find it, Susan, please let us know. And then we'll be happy
and we'll link it
somehow, or we'll revisit this next week.
Right.
And I'm not sure if this is Layla or Leila, because I come from Nova Scotia and anybody with that spelling called themselves Leila, but that could just be a Nova Scotia thing. I'm not sure, but welcome. She said she finally made it to Alive and she's from New Zealand, Noelle. So what time is it in New Zealand right now?
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Yes. Yes.
I think it's 16 hours. I think it's 16 hours different. So.
Okay. And then somebody else was just questioning me on the colors of my sweater. Can I do this without wreaking havoc in the studio. I can't look at that. So yeah, I guess I should have mentioned that. Sorry. So this coast is called River, and the Titicaca was called, or is called, Stonewash. And these are the two colors that Holst suggests for a perfect pairing. And when they talk about their pairings, they say that the colors won't be identical, but they will blend nicely. And I can see that this seems a little bit lighter than my sweater, but with the Titicaca, like it does really blend nicely. I just love this. And this is like the perfect blue to wear with a pair of jeans, in my honest opinion. And I used, well, this cone was it was 580 grams. Now it's 403. So I used basically 180 grams of, I do have some left in a ball though, but 180 grams of this. And I think I had two of these, and I have 19 grams left. Okay. And I did go down a needle size. Somebody else was asking that. I did go down a needle size.
But we should say, like, when that's we can tell you what needle size we use, but that doesn't mean that you're going to knit with that needle size and get the same fabric that we do. Like, everybody's got to work out for themselves.
Exactly. So that was the fabric that I liked for that yarn, and the size worked out okay. And I think there are notes on my Ravelry page too. I think I took some finished measurements. I know that the ranunculus is traditionally a looser style sweater, but I wanted one that wasn't as loose. And this gave me, I did the math, I did the knitting math, and this, at that needle and the gauge that I knit at, it gave me one that fits me pretty good. And I'm generally a size large in a pattern for like a 42 around.
Okay, we've had some comments here about talking about the garter tab, that the pressed flowers, and I did do the pressed flowers, I forgot about this, but the pressed flower shawl, it does actually start with a provisional cast on, which you in the end go back and graft together, do a Kitchener stitch together. So that did have a nice clean edge across the top. But it was also, I think where it's more of the round shaped shawls that start with the garter tab. I can't remember, but anyway, the pressed flowers one did start
crescent.
With, yes, or crescent. Yes. Yeah. So.
Okay.
And we have a question about knitting from the cone. When we knit from the cones, yes, we roll some off. I don't know with the Holst cones, whether you could even find the other end of it.
I don't think you could. Like the cone is, it's a very sturdy 40 gram ish cone of hard cardboard, and I don't think they leave an alternative end exposed.
And I don't even know whether it's wound on there. Yes, it's
really
wound
tightly.
On fairly tight. I don't think even if you could find it that you could pull it and knit from it comfortably.
No. So I just I cake some up, and I generally I'll try to make a cake about, I'm making a real mess here tonight. Okay. I try to make a cake that would be about this size. And I know that these are 50 gram cakes when Holst sells them that way. So, and if you have leftovers, you have leftovers. The nice thing about that yarn is it's so easily, you can spit slice it, or just weave in as you go. And the ends are barely noticeable.
Yep. So, okay. So now on to finished objects.
Oh, hey, by the way, you're very clear right now.
Am I?
Yeah, something just happened. I don't know what happened. Something just clicked in. Yes. Oh, yes, Judy, I am. Sorry. I'm the tangled stitch on Ravelry. I'm the tangled stitch everywhere. We had it up here, and I guess sometimes I just keep forgetting it. I figure everybody knows who we are, but I'm the tangled stitch on Ravelry and on Instagram and on here. And Noelle's a couple of different names, so.
I am. Well, that's
your Noelle's Knits and Pieces on Instagram.
Noelle's Knits and Pieces on Instagram, and N's Knits and Pieces on Ravelry. So, okay. So Kelly, we know you have a finished object.
Oh boy! Did you just get in there and get nice and clear, just to so I could see the eyes roll clearly? Is that it? You know I don't have a finished object.
You said you were going to.
I know. Okay, look. Hang on 1 second. So, and I can't pull this stunt because I got accused of telling a little story last week, which I'm going to clarify later. I did not tell a little story last week, but hang on 1 second. So I have a sock finished. This is what I had done by last week, right? And
Yes.
Saturday morning at the coffee shop, I think I cast this on Friday night. So I pretty much just had the band done, or the ribbing, the cuff of the second sock. And I said, I have to have something finished by Tuesday.
You didn't just say that on Saturday. You said that last week on Tuesday.
I know. And Natalie reminded me on Saturday that it was already Saturday, which wasn't that far from Tuesday. And I said, well, I'm sure I can get something finished. So I said, oh, I can probably get this finished. I didn't get it finished. Here I am, people. This is where I'm at.
Okay.
So I'm going to call this one an almost finish. And you're not going to have to see it again. This is the end of it. This is all you're going to see. So I will talk about the one I have finished. And I do promise you, I will finish this one tonight. So maybe I'll take a little snapshot and I will post it.
I want the time on it.
You want the time. Okay. I will post it before I sleep tonight, Noelle. This will be a finished toe. I promise you.
I'm kidding.
But I will talk about this because it's such a beautiful sock. And I did talk about it last week, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about it because it's gorgeous. So this is Timber Yarns, and this is her twin sock. So she dyes them in double skeins together. So you get two 50-gram skeins. And this is what I have left of the two skeins. I think there's about 23 or 24 grams here. So I'm definitely going to be able to get a second pair of socks. And then she had a mini, or two minis in this one. So this is, the colorway is Licorice, which is my heels and toes, and this little bit at the top.
At the top, yeah.
And I don't know, did I say that the color is called, I love this.
Sooty Santa.
Sooty Santa. And it's like wearing those spa socks. This yarn is so unbelievably soft. It's a marl, obviously, and I just wanted to look at it is an 80-20 merino. So luxurious. It feels fairly thick, as do her yarns. So I basically just knit the sock. I put in, it's hard to see in the marl, but there is a cable going down that sock. And I know it was a Christmas color, but I don't care. I would wear this all winter long.
Yeah. It's just like red and white. It's not, even though it's got a Christmas name, you're not going around with the name on your sock.
Nope. So what I plan to do, I have the other mini is red. So in the other pair, what I'm going to do with what I have left, and I do have another skein of Licorice, so I'm going to be really creative here. Normally I would knit the second sock and I would get some form of a shorty, and I usually split that set, and Kendall benefits from one sock set or the other. She'll either get a short pair or a long pair, because I can always get two out of these 50 grams. But this time, I think what I'm going to do, since I have extra Licorice, is I'm actually going to split this stripe. So I'm going, for me, with my knitting, they're about 10 rows long, each stripe. So I'm actually going to split this and do a few rows, maybe 2 rows, maybe 3 rows of the Licorice in between. So I'm going to end up with a little bit of a wider stripe and then a more narrow stripe. And then I'm going to make the second pair so I can get a full length pair. And I then will be able to use the red for the heels and toes and get a really nice contrast. I am a size ladies 8.5, if you're wondering how far that 50 grams goes for your foot. So these are about 9.5 inches long from toe to heel. And I normally knit this about 6 inches, but I knit this one a little bit longer because I wanted to get to the gray stripe to split for the heel. So that was on purpose.
Looks good.
And I used a shadow wrap heel, which is my first shadow wrap heel, and it won't be my last.
Yeah.
Will not. Okay, so that's my almost finished. What did you finish?
Okay. Well,
how many things?
3.
3.
Okay, so the first is this hat. So this is the Bumble hat by Tin Can Knits. I'll just bring up the banner. I have a couple of Bumble things in here. So, okay. So this is a Bumble hat by Tin Can Knits. This is the slouchy version that I did. You can either do it as a beanie or as just like a slouch. So the yarn that I use, this is a sample for Little Red Mitten. The yarn is this color here is Kelburn Woolen Scout. And I forget the colorway, but it's all in my project page. And then the contrast yarn is Shoppa Wool Edition 3. And the Edition 3 comes in beautiful colors. You probably have some there, Kelly.
Yeah.
It's much less expensive than Spin Cycle, but you basically get the same effect.
Yeah. And they are rolled up in these fun little balls.
Yep.
I really like it.
For this hat, it hardly took any of that yarn. Like you would have enough in one of those 50-gram cakes of that yarn to do probably at least about 3 hats.
Really?
So, yeah, it didn't really take very much at all because like it's got I think this is called Damson Heather in the Scout, but like you've got those rows in between and none of this hat is stranded color work. It's all mosaic. So super easy to do. Yeah, like I really like it. And it's actually like a fairly lightweight hat. I would say this would be more for a hat for wearing like early winter or when it's not like super cold out.
Okay.
But I really like the effect of the yarn. And again, a yarn like that would be gorgeous in the yoke of a sweater.
Yeah, it would. It'd be really pretty.
Yeah. And then
that's what I bought this for, was for the yoke of a sweater.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this yarn is classed as I think as a sport to DK. So basically you could use that. I think, and feeling it and using it, and I've used Spin Cycle before. I say you could use that yarn anywhere that you use Spin Cycle, the dyed in the wool Spin Cycle.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, so that's the first finished
I'm
project.
just reading back now some comments. I like Julie has a term. She calls it AGAD, as good as done. That's my sock. And okay. In my defense, that sock, maybe that was a design feature to leave that toe exposed. Maybe I get warm toes on that foot.
Well, I want to see you wearing it like that then. It's a spa sock. You can go get your nails done.
That's right. I could paint my toenails in that one. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So my next finish is my baby Bumble. My baby Bumble sock. No, not Bumble. Bear paw.
Oh, just 1 second.
Bear
before
paw
we
socks.
Can we just hold 1 second?
Yeah.
I don't want to lose this, but Nick was asking what the yarn is called, and it's actually called Shoppa Edition 3. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Sorry to interrupt. Carry on.
Okay. Okay. So these are the bear paw socks. This is the toddler size. So I did it.
Noelle size.
No, it's not. And then, so this is a sample for Little Red Mitten. So this is done with Rico Superba Skywave 6-ply. So this is a DK weight yarn. And okay, so I've done that pair and I just showed you here. I think it looks cute with the cuff turned down too, especially for a little kid, or you could do that on the adult ones too.
Yeah.
But these ones I finished like this week. But then I also had these ones, right, were finished before. So there's a full adult pair, the kids pair, and
you still have
this left from one skein of yarn. So these skeins are 150. So I think you could get 2 adult pairs, or you could get like an adult pair and a couple of kids pairs out of the one skein.
Can you mention the name of that again?
It goes really far. It is Rico Superba Skywave 6-ply. And this is from Little Red Mitten. This is where this is from. These are samples that I'm bringing back to them this week. And these are just little sock blockers that Ross whipped up for me like this afternoon because I needed some too. I said, can you make one that just, I didn't have any the right size. I had smaller and I had bigger, but I didn't have any the right size. So he just.
Okay, well, the next time he's just whipping sock blockers out, I'll take a pair too. Every time I make some for Miles, I cut them out of like this harder foam that I use. Well, he's just changing sizes all the time. And actually today, I had sent Kendall out some socks. So I had made him the little DRK everyday socks. Miles
Mhm.
has chubby little feet, wide, chubby little feet. And she got one on him. And she said at this time of day, his feet are a little sweaty too. But he was running around. He just had on, he's bare legs. He takes his pants off all the time. So he had on just like one of those onesies, done up, and he's running around on his bare feet. He was actually reorganizing her pot drawer for her. But she put the sock on him and she said, it's like so darn cute. So,
Well,
yeah,
those
adorable.
blockers are kind of there. Those are too small for my 3 older granddaughters. So actually, when Mike and Jacqueline were here on the weekend, Mike actually made me some more sock blockers for the
Oh,
kids' socks.
what? Oh my gosh.
So
Those
he
are
made
adorable.
these with a
3D
3D
printer.
printer. Yep. But then, okay, so there's the 2 socks, but they're
And
also,
yeah.
they go out.
Oh,
So you can flip them in for different sizes,
does Mike know that I
right?
have a
So
birthday
as the
coming up
kids,
in March?
so as the kids grow, I can change it to the different sizes. And he's got all the like measurements across here, and then he's got it corresponding shoe sizes across the bottom.
Oh, wow. That is
So, but these were just, I tried to put the other one on here, but that one, the one I just finished was more like a toddler sock. So it was just a little bit too small to fit on these. So yeah, so that's laser printer.
adorable.
That's kind of cool.
Adorable.
I want Ross to get one of those and a laser cutter.
We already had this conversation earlier. I thought he would have had it by now. That was like 5 days ago. It's not in the mail. It's not on its way.
Not yet. Okay. Okay, so I have one more finished object.
Okay.
So this is the Bumble sweater.
Just a moment. I'm going to switch out your
my banner.
I can find the hat. Did you do a
No, I did do one.
Okay, I'll find it. You talk.
I got it. Okay. So this is the Bumble sweater. Again, this is by Tin Can Knits. This is the size 6 to 12 months. This again is a sample for Little Red Mitten. This is done in Cascade yarns. The color up here, the pinky purple color, is the Cascade 220 Superwash. And then the color that's the contrast color is Cascade 220 Superwash Wave, worsted weight. So this is all worsted weight. So again, I don't know if you can see the pattern, but again, this is all mosaic. There's not any time where you hold both those colors across one row. And then your little design here is just done with slip stitches so that line stays solid. And that goes on the back as well.
When I saw that on the weekend and you were working on it, I thought, it's cute, but I didn't know what the finished pattern looked like. So
Right.
I actually thought that those lines were going to be just under the arm. So I thought, it's cute, but it's cute. It wasn't great. But when I saw the finished picture today on Ravelry, I thought, oh, that's pretty awesome, actually.
It looks really
like
cool.
That. Really,
and you could also do it in reverse, where you could have the like your gradient could be your main, and you could have like the stripes in that, because they've shown that on the pattern as well, like both versions, where you have the solid for I kind of like the solid for the lines because it's more defining. But they actually call that, so this and the lines is actually the contrast color. So you actually start the rib with the contrast color or the main. It's totally up to you. But yeah, I thought it was cute. And again, with Tin Can Knits patterns, like these patterns go right from baby up to
adult.
Yeah. Yes. So this, like I said, this is a size 6 to 12 months. I did still have some of each of the skein of yarns left. And the fabric does feel really nice and squishy. And now the only modification that I made was the neckband was just, you just knit up a couple of rows and then you cast it off. When you do a neckband up and you cast it off, in order to get it stretchy enough, I don't like how the neckband looks. Like it looks kind of ripply. And I know it's the same with at the top of socks. I know that it looks okay on, but I just don't like the look of it. So I just did a fold over. So and when you do the fold over, then you can do a really loose bind off around the top, and then you can tack it down really loosely. And then all the extra fabric is kind of hidden underneath, and yet you still get that stretchy neck.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and especially for sweaters for like little kids that are have bigger heads than the size of their body. Like you really need that stretch if you don't have a neckline that's got a couple of buttons to get them into it. So, okay, yeah. So that's my last finished object.
There's lots of comments about those sock blockers.
Oh,
Mike, if you're watching, I think, you could do a little something with that in your spare time. Lots of offers to buy them. Yes.
Okay, the size needle for the 6-ply socks. For the adult ones, I used a 3.5. And then I decided I thought that was a little bit looser than I like. And Kelly knows I like my socks dense.
Right. Lock those babies in there.
So for the smaller ones, I went down to a 3.25, and I think I like it better on the 3.25. But again, that's going to depend on your own tension on how you knit. So
yeah.
And I did have I was reading through.
Walk themselves along.
I was reading through some of the comments before we started. What I didn't realize I had a camera issue,
which seems to be disappeared now.
And there were so many people have so many sock projects done already. And Natalie had messaged me the other day about whether there was a post up on Ravelry, and I hadn't put it up yet. And I put it in there, and already there's quite a few pairs in there already. I couldn't believe it. Like, that's awesome. So
I didn't check tonight, but that's great. That's great.
Yeah, that is great. So
we're on our way.
We are.
So Sharon says that she just finished her second lavender field sock. Woohoo. Woohoo, Sharon. And she says that she remembered to turn the sock inside out.
There you go.
For the Finchley graft. I forgot that once. I got a few stitches in going, something's not right. And I did a tutorial on it too. But anyway, yeah, I have to stop now. When anything for Kitchener, I actually have to look at again.
Well, it was funny because I had to, that was on that sweater. I had to Kitchener the underarms. And I'm so used to doing like that Kitchener to do a tubular bind off.
Oh,
you're
right,
doing it all on one needle, right?
Yes,
and then I'm like, okay, so I'm knit, but do I have to skip one to do the purl? It's amazing how fast you forget when you don't do something for a while. Julia says 26 socks finished already. FOs. Wow, I think that's awesome.
Oh, I was going to say, I think one is Julia's, but no, it was hand warmers that she finished. Okay. No. Okay. What's up next? Oh, whips. I got whips.
Okay.
Okay. Firstly, we're going back here again. Okay. Last week, I was talking about how much fun I was having with Natalie's Merry and Bright socks. And I will put the banner up there because they're so cute. You get to see them twice because, well, I was going to put the banner up. I know I did. Yes, there it is. Okay.
It's there. Yeah.
So, and I showed you a sock. I showed everybody a sock because my plan is they are designed to be an Advent sock. So you would do them in the month of December and you would do like a band every day. And I said, I can't commit to that. I'll show you the right direction, I guess. This one says Wonder. And I can't commit to that. So I said, I'm going to do a banner each month on these socks. And Noelle says, oh, yeah, but that's 24. So you'd need to do them. You'd have to do, or no, she said that would only give you one sock if you did 12 because that's only one. And I said, no, I have the other sock done. And she goes, I've never seen the other sock. I only saw a picture of the one sock. It was upstairs. So I took this with me to the coffee shop on Saturday, but I want to show it because if you see it on YouTube, it's got to be real. There is a second sock. There is a second sock, friends. Yes, there is indeed a second sock. Again, I showed them to you upside down, but there they are.
Well, I was just thinking, I just didn't want you to just have one sock to wear.
Well, I don't know. I've got a naked toe in the other socks that I tried to finish. I could have a naked foot, but no, I absolutely have two. But I didn't want to stop at one. At one band. I was having so much fun doing color work that I could have kept going. But I thought, no, this will give me I'm going to keep it in this cute little winter bag. And this will be a little fun thing for me to do each month. Just a quick little thing. And at the end of the year, I mean, I might go a month ahead so that I can wear them like into December, but they're so pretty. Thank you, Natalie, for writing.
They're gorgeous.
And can you see the sparkle? There's a little bit of sparkle, Stellina in there. So thank you, Natalie, for writing up this pattern. It's available now. It wasn't last week, so it's a good thing I brought this up again.
Yep.
It is on her Ravelry page now, so you can go on there and find the Merry and Bright socks. And I think there's quite a few people that are actually going to do the same thing, where they're just going to do a little bit each month. And I think Natalie has a little bit of a group started for that too. So, and that's Natalie Sheldon, also Remembrances Pottery. So you might know her by, and that happens to be the beautiful mug that I have tonight. One of Natalie's absolutely beautiful mugs. I
forgot I had a drink.
Not like you to forget a drink. Eye roll.
It's bubbly. It's bubbly. It's bubbly.
Mary's asking if I turn them inside out when I knit those socks. I did not. I feel I'm okay with my color work not to turn it inside out. When I'm doing mittens with thumbs, have color work in the thumbs, I turn the thumb inside out to knit, just so I can make sure that I'm not going to pull too tight on that. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm still working on these ones. These are the DRK Everyday Socks by Andrea Mowry. And this yarn is Perlana Atna, ATNA, and it does have a little bit of elastic in it. I am loving how this is knitting up.
I have to get some of that yarn.
Like, I love how it's knitting up. And it's funny, I've never seen like a skein that unwinds like this. Like,
I was
the outside
say, what
was
have
like,
you done to that skein?
I didn't. That's what it was like. That's what it was like.
That's so strange.
And then I think, like I said, so then I'm going down through the ball to see if it does that again. But so that's all wound that way. And then I think you go back to like looking like a regular cake. And then I think it does that again, but I've never seen that before. But anyway, back to the sock. We're really talking about the sock. This one is for me. And so this is a different size, sock blocker size again for me. And it fits perfectly. Like, I just love it. I just wish this sock looked a little bit nicer off the sock blocker. The ones that I've got for Little Red Mitten, I'm gonna try blocking them and see if they stay, but I don't know if they will with all that ribbon.
I had to laugh when Kendall looked at Miles' socks today, because of course when she pulled them out, they're those weird, like, take it off the blocker and show. It was this strange, weird looking thing. And she said, do you think that's going to fit him? And I said, trust me, just trust the sock. I said, they are very nice fitting socks.
I know. It's like, that's what it looks like. No comment.
Ridiculous.
My son is watching. No comment. I did get comments last week. My son watched the show again and said, yeah, I didn't like it tonight. There wasn't enough talk about balls.
Victoria is talking about color work socks again. She wants to know if she needs to go up a needle size. I traditionally knit my socks, and Noelle does as well, on a 2.25. Generally, we go up, I think, I'm going up to a 2.5 to knit those socks. But Natalie's pattern is very well written, and she gives you instructions if you even want to go up to a 2.75, and can give you some expectations of what size the socks will be for you. So strongly encourage you to give that a go.
And the one thing I did want to say about these, and I think you do the same thing as I do, in Andrea Mowry's pattern, the toe that she starts with, you do a Turkish cast on, but then it's like a wedge toe. So both Kelly and I prefer a rounded toe. So I just did the reverse of the toe that I do when I knit top down, right? So it starts off with like a few rows where you're increasing every row, and then a couple of rows where you increase every other row, and then a couple of rows where you increase every third row. And then I think my very last one is I knit 3 rows and then do that last increase. And it gives you a much, I think, nicer shape around than the wedge toe. And it tends to fit my foot a little bit better than the wedge toe. So,
well, it's kind of ridiculous. We don't have a round toe, neither of us, but yet we think it fits better.
But we don't have a wedge toe either.
Yeah, and that's my rounded toe. Yeah.
So that was the only modification that I made to the pattern. Other than that, it is a lot of 2x2, but once you kind of get into the rhythm of it, I don't find it's that bad. And yeah, I always do mine on a 2.25, like regular socks. If color work, sometimes I go up. If it's all, the whole sock is all over color work, I might go up. If it's only a little band at the top, then a lot of times I don't. So Okay.
Yes, sorry,
So
Barb. That's a 2.25 US, which is
millimeter. No,
millimeter.
millimeter.
Sorry, 2.25
Which
millimeter.
I think is a
A
a
1.
US 1.
Yes.
So, okay. So what else are you working on?
Well, besides the toe,
Yeah.
I'm also okay. Another thing that I've been shamed for recently is the fact that my husband does not have a pair of socks knit by me. So I decided I had to remedy that. I tried to remedy that already. I wanted to knit him the bear paw socks so that he could wear them in his work boots just to kind of get the feel for hand knit socks and see if he likes them. And I cast on a men's medium and it was a fail. They looked ridiculous. They would have fit a bear easily. So I started again, and I have to say I still don't know. I still feel these are big. Maybe I need to go down a needle size. So I'm using the Patterns 3.5 millimeter, and it still looks like a weird looking sock.
Are
Maybe I
you are you double stranded? Is
yes.
it? See, I still think that 2 strands of sock yarn is thicker than DK.
I think so too. But when I hold it up against a DK sock yarn, I went for 2 thin ones this time. I think that was my problem last time. I went for 2 thicker sock yarns. This time I went for 2 thinner sock yarns. I feel a DK. This does not look overly, sorry for hitting that microphone, doesn't look overly thick to me at
Yeah, but
all.
when you look at it compared to this,
Again, I still think
which
mine
is
looks
a
thinner.
DK yarn, I
Mine
don't.
looks thinner.
I
I
anytime
think
I've worked with 2 fingerings together, I feel like I'm getting a fabric thicker than even when I work with 2 whole strands together. I have
I have a
I'm
story
doing an
about that
18 stitch
next.
gauge.
Yes, I'm getting too big
So,
as well. So I think that this is still, I don't know if 3 times is the charm for me or not. I don't know if I have the patience to go at it a third time, but I still like, maybe it would fit. Like maybe it's not too big. Maybe I'm just so used to seeing fingering weight socks that this looks big to me. Maybe I should stick with it. His feet are wide. I don't know.
but realistically, regardless of whether you're using fingering weight yarn or using DK weight yarn, the sock size itself should be the same. Your foot's not different. Your foot's not a different size depending on whether you use fingering weight yarn or DK weight yarn.
No, no, no. But I'm saying maybe it just like I'm used to seeing fingering weight, so maybe I think the stitches look too big and too loose
Maybe,
because I'm used to
maybe.
used to seeing a finer weight sock. So, but what I'm using this time, so I've got the Leo and Roxy Basics in Cajun Spice. Love this color. Love this
Mm-hmm.
color. And then I'm using Knit Pick Stroll. These 2 yarns are on the thinner side. Oh, this is called Train Station. So it's a black gray marl. I really like the way they look together. I would like a pair of socks in these colorways. I actually have a pair in these color or similar. So I don't know if I should just keep going with it. Maybe I just should. Like I
Well,
said,
just have him try that on the front of his foot.
I guess I could do that too. Maybe it just looks funny. It just needs to, but I don't know. To me, like I said, the stitches just feel a little loose. Maybe I
Well,
should
I
have
know
gone
when
down to a 3.25.
I used 2 strands of the Leo and Roxy Basics when I did that little dinosaur sweater
Yeah.
for Isla. That's a worsted weight pattern. So
Louise says that when she holds fingering doubled, she still uses a 2.75 millimeter needle. I think that's, you know what? I think that's my issue. I think it's the needle. I think, I don't think I knit loose. I think I knit like right in there, but I feel like these just look, I don't know. Okay.
I would get him to try it on before I rip it out and try anything different. I'd get him to try it on first.
Okay. Becky's saying she uses a 3.25. Lots of people saying they'd go down a size, but okay. Aside from the size, aren't they gorgeous?
Yep.
Those colors. Those colors. I really like them.
It doesn't look nearly as big as the last pair you were knitting.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No.
So,
Okay. So that's the thing I worked on number 2, because you know I just keep casting on things. So what else are you working on? Because I'm not done yet.
my burra cowl, and Isabel had talked about that. So now I've got all this done. So I've done 1 full repeat, which takes me to here. And then I'm partway into the 2nd repeat. So this is done in Holstgarn Super Soft. So let me see quickly if I can remember all the colors. Started with Sweet Pea, then Marlin, then oatmeal, then sloe, then damson, then elderberry, then pebble, and
What's the yellow?
maize. Sorry, maize. I
Maize.
forgot maize. And then in here there is gold crust. And then this is back to the oatmeal. And then this one is ember.
Ember. Yep.
And then this is flannel gray. And I think that's all the colors. Oh, scarab. Scarab is in here. That's this one here.
The brown.
So I think I've got 12 colors in here altogether. I am loving knitting this, but I put it aside to finish up the samples for Leo and Roxy, but I'm really liking it. So I'm thinking that I might be, the pattern tells you to do 4 repeats, right? So that would be up to here. So that much 4 times. Now for a single cowl, some comments in Ravelry say that they think that that's too much. So I'm thinking if I do 6 repeats, it might be enough to do a double. It'll either be 6 or 7. I don't think I'll need 8. So, and I think it'll look really good as a double.
Nice.
So really enjoying it. And Isabel had asked, it's already started, Isabel. So the Burra Cowl or Marie Wallen.
All year long.
Right. Or Susan Crawford is all year long. I haven't got the Ravelry, posts up yet, but I will. So, but this was so much fun to pick out the colors. And it's just so nice to see the pattern. I'm loving it.
And it has inspired me. I'm not going to do the cowl. I'm not going to do the Burra cowl. It's not a cowl that I know it's not a cowl that I would wear. So, but I am wanting to do that color work. So I'm going to try. Oh no, it looks beautiful, but it's the shape of the cowl or the style of the cowl. It's just not something I know I wouldn't wear. So I want to do one of her hats because I want to do the color work and have the fun doing the color work and yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to do one of the hats. I haven't decided which one yet. I looked, but I haven't picked one yet.
Susan says she wishes hers was longer. She knit it per the pattern, so she did 4 repeats. So is 4 repeats enough around or too much for just once? And again, like I can ask all this, and it all depends on your tension too, right? What you're getting. So. So Lori says she's knitting a 2-color cowl and she finds herself tinking back. This one, okay. So stitches around, there's 120 stitches around. It's a 30 stitch repeat. So if you're doing something like that, you could put in a stitch marker every 30 stitches. And then at least at the end of the repeat, you'll know whether you're on or not. The only time that I find it's a little difficult is when you start into a new pattern. Once you start into the new pattern, then you're kind of building on the pattern. So it's easy to see where your colors go. But the very start of a pattern, when you've just got that one stitch every so often at the start, I find that's where I really have to pay more attention when I'm doing that. So. Okay, so she says it's too much for once, but too tight for twice. So that's why I'm thinking 6 should be about right for twice.
And I think that's where I was going with the 4 repeats. When I see the pictures, it's just not the shape that I like. It's just kind of there. And if I'm going to have something around my neck, it's because I want something around.
Well, that's like this. I kind of like it to be like this. And I think a double wrap cowl gives you more of this than just a single wrap cowl.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed.
So,
agreed. Yeah. But the patterns are so pretty. Like the color work. It's so pretty. I do want to join in. So I think a hat is a good project for me. Yeah. Okay.
So what else are you working on?
Well, I finished my first skein of my Cozy Classic Raglan. There's a banner in that. Oh, right there. So this is what the sweater will look like. There's a picture here. And I'm not sure if that one is knit. Is that one knit with mohair as well? It almost doesn't look like it is.
I don't know. It might, but you can also just knit it with a DK weight yarn.
That's what I'm wondering if that one's knit with, but I am doing mine. So I have all of this done with my first skein from Leo and Roxy, and I'm using the Leo and Roxy mohair in colorway butter, and then their sock marled yarn in straw into gold.
Yep.
And I have all of this done. Like, look at that.
I know it goes forever.
That's a lot of
Yep.
knitting done in just those. And I still have mohair from my first skein. So I wanted to, now I'm at a point where I can try this on. I haven't yet, but I will try it on because I'm about 3 inches under the arms. So I will do a little try on. I think I'm going to, I only have two skeins of the mohair. So I think I'm going to knit the sleeves first in this sweater. And I'm thinking that I will keep the sleeves to the same length as this. I like this length of a sleeve for me because I wear a watch and I don't like it when I can't see my watch and I have to pull my sweater up. So this is kind of a bracelet length, I guess, a little bit longer than a 3/4. So my goal is to get to that length for the sleeves, and then I will knit the body to where the strands take me. But I cannot tell you how glorious this feels. And Noelle first knit this as a test sample, or as a sample, sorry, not test, as a sample for the Little Red Mitten. And
Leo and Roxy.
Oh,
because some of those yarns they don't sell at Little Red Mitten, they sell through Leo and Roxy.
Right. So she knit it as a sample knit though, and she goes, Kelly, you're going to want to knit this, and she's not lying. It feels amazing. It's just amazing. I can't wait to get it finished. So I worked on that this week. Did you work on anything else?
Just a little bit, but I got this back out again because now that Christmas is over, I can go back to, I want to finish up some stuff. So this is my Fairy Bouquet. Fairy Bouquet by Joanna Ang. So I don't have a whole lot more to go in the body and then just the sleeve. So I want to get that done so that I can be wearing it. And it feels really nice. This is yarn that I got in Turkey, and this is called Gazelle, G-A-Z. Mm-hmm. No, the company name is Gazelle, and the yarn name is Rock and Roll. So it's there's some wool in it, but a lot of it's polyester, but it's got a really nice, it's like this pale blush color, and it's got a really nice sheen to it. And I think it looks, oh, I got that turned the wrong way. I really like the look of it in this sweater.
It's really pretty. Really pretty. Yeah.
And it was so much fun doing the yoke. So now the body's just plain, but then the sleeves will be fun because you've got the texture. It's like a texture.
Marianne did that sweater too, didn't she?
Yes.
Hers is
she did it in gorgeous royal blue color. But yeah, I really like it. So I'm anxious to get that done. So hopefully, I'm not going to say by next week because I don't want to be held to anything. So we'll see. I should at least have the body done anyway. But yeah, and it's kind of like, I think, a sweater that you could wear for like a little bit more dressed up, like just a little bit of sheen to it, plus just I don't know, it's just a pretty sweater.
All right, the next thing I worked on and then tore out was the Beneath the Waves vest, and it I wanted to make mine in Holst yarn, a super soft and a Titicaca. So I went onto the pattern and it looked like the gauge was going to work. Everything looked fine. So I just jumped right in. And I also checked one other person. I don't think it's a very widely made pattern, maybe less than 20. But I really like a vest, and I have a blouse that would look really pretty with a certain Holst combo that I have. So, excuse me, one person had made it with super soft and Titicaca, and I thought, well, theirs looks good. They made it a size medium. I looked at the person, I'm like, yep, looks good. Away I go. So I cast on for a size large, and it was too big. I got the ribbing done. I did 2 inches of ribbing, the worst part. And I could tell it was too big. So I thought, gosh darn it, where did I go wrong? So get out ye old swatch. So I swatched up on the same needles, and unblocked, I was getting the same gauge, like the right gauge. So I'm like, well, I don't quite understand it. So I finished my swatch. I don't have anything to definitive to report back because I haven't measured this yet, but I blocked it and it looks, I like the fabric. It looks like
Yep.
it's a good
Yep.
fabric for me. And I feel like it's probably pretty close engaged to where I would want it to be. So I'm not really sure where I went wrong. Maybe like it did. The vest called for a size 4mm needle, but they wanted you to do the ribbing in the 3.75. And I figured that that was going to be just a little bit big. So I didn't want the sweater to have negative ease, but I wanted it to have regular ease. So I cast on the size large, and I had already determined I would knit the ribbing in 3.75 and I would knit the body in 3.75 as well. And then that would bring the sweater in just enough to be the right fit, because to go down a size was going to be, I felt too tight. So I thought by dropping it down that quarter size of a needle, I'm going to get a fabric I like anyway. And I really do like the fabric. So now I just have to go back and I'll have to measure this and figure out where I went awry in that, because my ribbing was definitely loose, sloppy, and it was a tubular cast on. So that took me a fair bit of time. I had a significant amount of time into knitting that ribbing to have to pull it out. So that was a little frustrating. So now I've got to rethink this. But I really like this. And one person made it work, so I have to make it work. So when you're talking about the fact, because I think originally it's called for a DK yarn, and is that bigger than a DK? That's the question now. We talked about that.
Is that one strand of super soft and one strand of, okay.
And I felt that would for sure. I thought for sure that would be a DK weight.
And what's the tension? 22?
20. That's what the pattern calls for.
I think that I know I used a strand of Tides and a strand of Titicaca, and Tides is exactly the same yardage as super soft.
Okay.
And I think I was more at a 22 stitch gauge.
Well, and the pattern also said that that would be the stitch gauge on a 4mm needle. This is on a 3.75. Okay. So I have to do a little investigating into where I went awry. I will report back. I'm not giving up on that pattern. I really love that vest, and I'll get it figured out. I'm confident. Okay.
Okay. So there was a question earlier about whether or not the super soft shrank when you block it widthwise, like this way.
Right.
Not widthwise, lengthwise.
Lengthwise.
And if you held it with mohair, did that change it? Okay. The only time that I have found that a Holst yarn has kind of shrunk up was when I put it in the spin cycle on my washing machine. So if I just soak it, squeeze as much as I can out of it, roll it in a towel, I haven't had a problem with any shrinkage. But I did, and I don't know whether it's just the agitation from the spin, but I did find that I did get some shrinkage in length when I did that.
But that was that was using the
that was
Tides. Because I've spun out, like I definitely spun this one out for sure. I spun this out, and I had no problem
with mohair or something else. It might make a difference if you just have the super soft by itself. It might be I think some people have said that they have had it shrink when it's just the super soft by itself. But I've not had a problem if I don't put it into the washing machine on a spin cycle. And I haven't tried that with super soft, so I don't know. So,
okay.
But that's not even sure if your swatch can really tell you that, like, because you're probably not going to put your swatch into the spin cycle, right?
No.
So,
no. Susan says that's because swatches lie.
Well,
anyway. Oh goodness.
Someone Annie wanted to know when we talked about the bandana cowl. I don't know that we've ever talked about the bandana cowl.
Unless she's talking
about something else.
Is that the name of the pattern, or was she talking about the Andrea Mowry, the shift cowl, because it's bandana shaped. That's the only thing I could think of. So, okay. I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
So, okay, I haven't started this yet, but this is kind of going to be my next thing. I said yes to a test knit. So this is the Somerset sweater by Beth
Yes,
McDonald
I
Stone.
love that sweater.
So
Love,
I
love,
loved
love
it too. So like when she sent out the thing, I'm like, yes, 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 I will do this. And it's done in her version. She did in the, don't know if it's charcoal or navy in that picture, but it's Holst Garn Noble, which is pretty much the same tension as Super Soft. And then I think her other colors may be Super Soft. So this is a Somerset sweater by Beth McDonald Stone. And I've got a couple of Beth sweaters and I do really like them. So yeah, so I said yes. And it's all going to be stash yarn. So these are, I went through, now I just went through, this was just today that I said I would do this. So I went through and I think that my main color is going to be this.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Cloudberry. And
so
then I think
pretty.
Where her cream is, I'm going to have the ecru, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got this color that I'm going to use for the little flowers. So that's thistle down, but that's going to be in the white, right? So even though it's close to the blue, it's going to be in there. And then my flower
that's
leaves and petals are going to be this color. And then my little pop of color is going to be this.
Oh, that's pretty. Pretty.
So those are what my colors are going to be for. Yeah, and I'm really excited about it. So, and it looks like
it's an almost cast on.
That's right. That's right. Look how much I have done. I picked the colors.
It's a forethought cast on.
That's right. Anyway, so I'm pretty happy with those colors. And these are all different colors than what's in my Burakel.
So, yes. That's almost like spring-like colors.
Yes. Yeah, I really like it. And the sweater I think it will be like a nice sweater for spring because it's only got about 3/4 length sleeves.
I think it will be perfect to wear to Montreal in May.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So anyway,
yes, absolutely.
Yes. So I'm really happy. I'm really excited to get started on that. So.
All right.
And that's it.
That's all that I'm working on. Did you get any new things this week?
I did.
Oh, I was going to say you monkey, because you're supposed to be on a buying diet.
This is I bought this because this is going to be my year-long project that I'm doing all the socks for my family for Christmas. So this is Timber Yarns. This particular yarn is called the Marls. So this is the same yarn that Kelly was using in her Sooty Santa, except this has 11 different colors in it. So what I am going to do, this is the one with 11 colors, but they're not available yet. But Heather's also doing like Sooty Santa. They'll be like Sooty Santa, except every one of those colors, she's going to do a version of it. So there's going to be like the gold leaf and the brown and the green and the red and the pink. So each one of my adult children and their spouses is going to get a pair in one of the colors. And then Ross and mine are going to be the combination of everybody's color. And then the kids are going to get combinations of their parents' colors. And that's going to be their Christmas socks for next year. So I'm really excited about it. Like my sock mojo's back and I want to get these cast on. So that's my year-long project for socks.
So into Sock Mojo right now. I found 3 more patterns today that I want to cast on in socks. I'm just all about the socks right now.
Yeah. So anyway, so watch and I'll let you know. But all those colors from Heather should be coming out soon. So I'll let you know.
Heather's on a cruise right now.
She is on a cruise right now.
So I'm not sure what she's got going on in her shop right now while she's away. And I don't think she hasn't posted all the Marls yet, has she? I don't think.
You can buy the individual little minis in each of the Marl color, but she hasn't posted the full skeins of all the colors in the Marls.
But I'm sure that when she gets back, there's going to be a big shop update.
But she does like this one with all the Marls in it is available. And hopefully I'll have that started by next week so I can show you what it looks like.
Julia, are you seeing that teal and that deep plum that's in there? Like hold those up again. Julia, do you see those colors in there? Those look like your colors.
Anyway.
Isabel says
So.
she's going to be waiting in the lobby of the hotel in May to meet us. And when we get there, and I'm thinking, okay, Isabel, how will we know you? And this is how we'll know you, from your PJ pose.
That's right. Exactly.
Oh, we can't wait actually to meet you in person, Isabel. That's going to be amazing. We're going to have such a great time. I got something new this week too, and it was a gift from Noelle. And I said, I don't know how you gave this away. And I said, it's your colors. And she said, well, I bought one for myself too. But anyway,
You don't have to tell them that part.
This is from Thread and Maple. And this bag is beautiful. It actually came to work with me today because I was trying to finish the sock at work and I failed miserably. I only get a half an hour for lunch, you know. And anyway, so it's this beautiful bag in the, it's a fundraiser too for breast cancer, correct? Yes. So some of the proceeds from the bag and what was in the bag go to breast cancer. So this was thing one from the bag. And then inside the bag, I wanted to show this off too, was this beautiful sock set of yarn. Look at this gorgeous, gorgeous speckle. This beautiful rosy pink color and this coppery gold. Like, this is the best of Noelle and I. The pink for Noelle, the gold's for me. I love this. It's like rose gold. And then it has a cream color as well. And this is to go with, and Noelle, you're going to have to help me with the name. It's a Tracy Miller sock pattern.
Hope and either Sunshine and Hope or Hope and Sunshine.
Right. And it's all in support of breast cancer. And I couldn't love it more. It's so pretty. So, so pretty. I might take that with me to cast on, because I'm going away this weekend.
Okay. And I got a gift too.
Did you?
I did. Kelly and I didn't even have a chance to exchange gifts until a week ago. Well, it was after last week.
Not even a week ago.
It was after, yeah.
Because there were other things in the little bag too. Noelle made me a ball. I got my very own perfectly round, hard ball.
I'll give you another one next year, then you'll have a set.
2 balls. Perfect.
Okay, so first of all, look at this box. It's so cool. It's like a magnet and then it opens up into.
It's a perfect thing to keep yarn in.
It is. Okay, so I got this beautiful braid of BFL silk, and like, look at those colors. They're like, I bet you that's going to look a lot like that yarn once it gets spun up.
Probably. I can't wait to see it. It's so pretty, and it feels amazing.
Yeah, this is from Sweet Georgia, and it is 75% blue face Leicester and 25% Tussa silk, and it feels amazing. It's got little snowflakes attached to it, but they're not going to get spun up into the yarn. And then
you haven't picked your color yet.
I have.
Oh, okay. You haven't let me know.
Anyways. So, and then Kelly is going to make me a hinterland dress so I can take it to New Zealand with me. I'm so excited. So excited. I know I have to hurry up and let you know so that I can knit a sweater to go with it.
That's right. That's right.
Anyways, you know what? It was kind of fun having this after Christmas too, because that it just kind of extended the whole Christmas.
Yeah, it didn't get lost in Christmas. No. It kind of happened after. And yeah.
And I also got some coconut jam all the way from St. Martin, which coconut is like my absolute favorite. So that was amazing.
Yes, mine too. Mine too.
So thank you. So we'll sure have pictures of this once.
Yes. And as far as gifts and prizes go, I just popped this in here tonight. I wanted to show you. These are the prizes from the last few shows. So that was my Friday night, getting everything packaged up. And Mike actually dropped all of that off at the post office yesterday morning. So if you've joined us through the pajama party, and then we had our first week of January, and then we had prizes from the socks, and then we had the grand prize from the socks, the year-long sock along. So if you were part and parcel of a winner of any of those things, it is on its way. The post office didn't know it hit them. So it's a tiny little post office in my town. Yes.
Okay. So speaking of all those, we should quickly go through our knit alongs that are going on. So first of all, we have our sock knit along, which starts January 1st, goes all the way to December 31st. All you have to do is finish some adult socks and put them in there. And like we said, we've already got socks in there. We draw prizes monthly, both a pattern prize donated by Natalie from Remembrances Pottery and a sock yarn prize. So every month. So, and when we go back to the beginning of the month. So the more pairs of socks you get in there, the more chance you have of winning a prize.
Beginning of the year. We go all the way back to
we go back to the beginning of the year. So the more you get in there, the more chances you have. And you do not have to start the socks in 2023. They can be started anytime. All you have to do is finish them in 2023.
And if you want to add photos to Instagram and show your socks off, if you want to use this hashtag that I've got along the bottom here, this is what we'll see on Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and what else did we have going on?
Okay, so we have our Smash That Stash. Okay, so I made some executive decisions about this without Kelly. I decided.
She's bossy. She's bossy, friends.
Because you know what? Everything I turn on here, everything I see, all the stuff that I watch, everybody is talking about knitting their stash this year. So I think we need to run this for the whole year.
Oh, okay.
And then quarterly, we could do a prize.
Okay, we can do that.
Because that's going to
That's a great idea. That's a great idea you had all by yourself.
Well, I was doing the Ravelry thread. I thought we should just do this all year. Because first of all, I want to use my stash. You want to use your stash.
That's the goal.
Like, and there's a lot of us out there that have a lot of beautiful yarn in our stash, and we need to use it. So
absolutely.
So yeah, so we'll just do it for the whole year. And then I also, you know what, if you've got whips that are already started, as long as you started them with yarn that you had before December 31st, 2022, then you can enter it in the finished object. So there is a finished object and a chatter thread on Ravelry. So just finish your projects with yarn that you've already got.
Awesome.
So you can start lots of new projects with yarn as long as you got that yarn on or before December 22nd. So
I had one last little
not
thing.
December 22nd, December 31st, 2022.
2023. I had one last.
22.
If you had the yarn before then. Yes. I thought you meant finished before December 31st, 2023. Okay.
So
got you now. Okay. I had one last thing that I was supposed to show as an acquisition.
Oh,
I forgot. I got these this week. My daughter got a pair and then she told me about them and I went looking and they're on sale. So if anybody's interested and they need really good house slippers, look at these. These slippers are by Clark's. They have a really nice hard sole and they're super grippy. You won't slide on these floors wearing these. But look, the best part, they have this little Fair Isle cuff on them.
Yeah, it's cute.
And they're super cozy. And they're normally in Canada. I got them from the shoe company online. And in Canada, I think they were like $50 and they were on sale right now for 20 something. And they got to my house in 3 days. So
that's good.
If you didn't get slippies for Christmas and you're in need of some, this is the time to get them. So, all right. Okay. And lastly, go ahead.
Our Burracal Cal. So, or Marie Wallen or Susan Crawford Cal. So that again is going for the whole year because a lot of Marie Wallen's patterns or those all over Fair Isle patterns are fairly complicated. So we want to encourage everybody to give them a try. And you've got the whole year to look for a pattern, to get your yarn, use stash yarn, and then it can go in both of the cals. You can put it in the Marie Wallen one plus the Smash Your Stash one. Same with the socks if you use stash yarn for your socks. So all sorts of chance to win prizes. And then we'll get to put together another picture like that one that Kelly just showed of all the prizes going out.
Yeah, fun things to do on a Friday night.
Spread the joy.
Spread the joy. Yes. I just wanted to run our how you can get in touch with us if you need to, if you want to. Knits and Pieces podcast at gmail.com. If you have any questions throughout the week or anything you'd like us to talk about on here, any tutorials you'd like to see, anything, ask us anything. We will try to get to your questions next week. And please take a minute before you get on out of here and just go below the video and hit the like button. That really helps our channel. And the channel has had some recent fairly significant growth, and we're pretty excited about that. It's really exciting to see new friends that have make it into our knitty world, and we look forward to hopefully having a chance to meet some of you this year.
Sure. And underneath the video, usually the following day, the show notes will be posted. And I know there's questions in here like what's our Ravelry group name and what's our Instagram names. All of that information will be in there's going to be a link to click to the show notes, and all of that information is in there. In fact, the Ravelry group, if you just click on the link in the website, it will take you directly to the Ravelry group. So usually like a day after, we'll get those posted. And if there's anything else in that or the information that you need isn't there, just email us at that knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com, and we'll make sure that we get an answer for you.
Right. And I always go back in after this is over tonight, and I do a time code stamp for you. So if there was something that you wanted to go back to, it should be a little easier to find. It just takes me a few minutes to get that up after the show is over. Okay.
Thank you for joining us. This has been a long one tonight, but of course it was like 10 minutes late, I think, when we started.
Okay, we'll ration out away that way.
Sorry about that.
But I've got some knitting to do tonight because I can't go to sleep until I finish a toe. So
there you go. So
okay. I forgot the really, really big news. I'm going to BC this weekend. I'm going to see Miles. That's big news for me, so I need to share it. I'm going to see, and I'm going to see Miles' parents as well, of course, but I'm definitely going to see Miles. And it was a last-minute decision. We're flying out. We got a great flight on Swoop, super cheap. Couldn't say no. And we're going to go out and see the kids' new house in Chilliwack and spend a few days with Miles. And normally I try to see some of my friends while I'm there that I've made through the podcast. I don't know that there's going to be time because we're literally only going to be there for 3 days. Like there, we get there on the Thursday, but we're coming home on Monday so that I'm back. I've got some things going on at work that I can't be away for, but so wish us safe traveling, and
safe travels.
I'm looking forward to squeezing baby cheeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So take care, everybody.
I'm exhausted.
Yep. Happy knitting, and we'll see everybody next week. Bye.
For sure. Bye.